Hey, it's Fieldy from KORN.
Hey, what's up, Fieldy? How you doing, man?
I'm just chilling, relaxing in my backyard.
Just got the book yesterday. Looks really great, man. You know, I haven't had a chance to read it all, but I can tell you this, that I'm actually surprised to read some of the things in the book. Maybe because I also happen to be a KORN fan, but I mean, this is pretty powerful stuff that you got going on in this book. What does the release of this mean to you?
You know what? By the way, before we even get started,
Sure.
I have my bathroom downstairs. I have all magazine cutouts.
Mm-hmm.
I have your magazine on my wall.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
And hey, you know what, man? Like, there's a shot in the book
Mm-hmm.
of photos.
Yeah.
It might even be in the book. I'll tell you right now. I'm flipping through because it's a shot of my bathroom of all the pictures on my wall.
Okay, I'm looking through it right here.
I'm looking right now. Nah, I didn't get that angle. Wait,
Oh.
No. Nah, but it's in the middle of the glossies, but it didn't get that angle. Well,
Oh, wow. Let's talk about the book. I mean, this is obviously it's got to be a really big moment, and not only in your career, but in your life to put together a spiritual testimony. To some people, it might be a tell-all book. You know, we've had rock stars. Nikki Sixx has done his book, and a lot of people have done their book. But me reading it, being a homeboy, and seeing this, I think that's probably what kind of struck me the most. But to you, how important is this, the release of this book, and what does it mean to you?
I think the release of this book it means so much to me because of what has happened to me and the change that, man, even if I could reach one person, the whole thing would be worth it, because it's amazing, you know, that I'm still alive from the 20 years of completely killing myself, that I can't believe I'm here today. I still pray today that I can't believe I'm restored, alive, and healthy, man, and it was a miracle, because I should have been going through withdrawals and all, and not, you know, I didn't go through any of that. I actually had the hand of God, you know. It's just amazing. No one would ever know of the abuse I've put myself through, of 7 days a week, 20 years, 7 days a week of completely destroying myself.
Yeah. I read a lot of that just in the, just the openings of the book. How did the project come together?
You know, I don't know. I guess once I made the changes, I knew that I guess I'm a better writer than I am a speaker right now. I mean, who knows? I may be getting ready to become a speaker, but
Motivational speaker?
I mean, I don't know, but
yeah.
As of now, I don't think I'm that guy, I think that for me to put a book out, put my thoughts down, and, it's just, that's where I'm at today. And, putting it in my style of, of putting it down, it's real, like, I don't know, man, I'm more like hardcore, and like, I don't know what the word would be, gangster.
Yeah.
Like about it. And
did you have you had the ghostwriter? I'm looking at the Laura Morton. How was the whole process? How did you do it? Was it a collection of journals? Did you sit down and talk to her, and you guys worked on this over a series of months or years, or?
I sat down and I did talk with her, and we did a lot of sitting down talking together, and a lot of over the phone, and it was over, probably at least a year and a half. It was a lot, and meanwhile, while I was doing all this, I was doing a lot of writing too, because when you're on tour and you're, when you stop like living, one side of the dark life, and you come over to the other side, you have to replace it, because it sucks just to be good. You know, you have to replace it with something. And I started doing a lot of writing, you know, and I was writing a lot. So I put, which took me a lot of time, I put some personal letters to my band members of, you know, apologizing and detail of some of the crazy things that I put them through. And, you know, so I put some personal letters in there, and I put some of my own diaries of just my personal, you know, journals of my diaries of today, of my, you know, more, you know, positive side of life. And it was just interesting to me because, you know, I did a lot of writing and
didn't realize how much you'd done, huh?
Yeah, because it's, I don't know, you know, it's really weird to, you know, be right. You know, I put out a solo album of writing completely like dark negative, and, you know, coming to the other side and realizing, wait a minute, we have a choice to live negative or positive. You just got to practice. You just got to practice, you know, one or the other.
Yeah.
And realize when you're like, wait a minute, I'm practicing the wrong side right now. You know, and just, I don't know, it's really weird.
Yeah. Well, let's start out, because there's two parts to this book. There's kind of there's the bad Fieldy and there's the good Fieldy. Let's start out with the bad Fieldy. I'm looking at the Fieldy's rules listed at the beginning of the book. This is pretty intense list. It's just total anarchy. I mean, when I'm talking to you right now, I can't see that person at all, even just a little bit, and I've only been talking to you for a few minutes. Were you really that bad? I mean, just, it seems like a really shallow, but just kind of out of control.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just rock star. You know, there's rock stars, people want to, rock star, these guys want to have good time and enjoy their life, but it seems like you were really kind of fueled by kind of a hate selfishness. You know, you're really that bad?
I think in the Fieldy rules, I think it's a little sugar-coated. I was worse than that. I mean, that's just like a quick, like, hey, check it out. Here's the bottom line, you know, like, but if I had to go into detail, you'd be like, you did do that? What? You know, like, you know, you should be put in prison.
Yeah.
You know, you should. And you know what? I was in prison. I was in my own chains, and I was locked down in my own prison, and you know, living that style in that way was just destroying everything that had to do with love. Everything. You know, from having this huge house that's empty, you know, maybe filled with people partying in it, but, you know, those people were just partying, nobody cared. You could fill your house partying, but you're still lonely, you know.
Yeah, I was, you know, flipping through random pages in the book and reading, you know, how tough your early childhood was, and it's almost like, it almost reads like a montage at the beginning of a horror film, you know, like how the monster came to be like Michael Myers or something, you know. You know, how were you able to survive all that as a kid? I mean, I felt really bad for you. I was reading the book, I was like, man, this poor kid, I hope he's okay. And it's like, no, I'm actually, no, he's an adult now. He's made it out, but it's really some sad stories in there, you know, just shocking, you know, and the abuse and everything, you know. How were you able to survive as a kid?
You know, I mean, obviously, it was the favor of God. He knew I was going to go through all this, and, you know, to knowing that I was strong enough to make it through all these hard times. So when I did come out of it, probably knowing I'm going to look just like I look today, like people see me walk by and think that they're intimidated or they think I'm mean just because of the hard life that I lived. That, you know, I look like, you know, the way I look. I mean, you can see the cover of the book, you know, it's like,
yeah,
I don't look like, you know, it's because of living a hard life, but, you know, I guess not everybody is, you know, set up for that or designed for that. That's why you have some people that, you know, end up not making it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah, well, you know, what were some of the positive? I mean, you obviously had some, you know, you had your guardian angel on your shoulder, but, you know, what were some of the positive forces in your life back then? Was there any figures in your life, and did you have any spirituality at all back then? were you raised with any spiritual identity?
What's crazy is I didn't know anything about. There was no church, no spiritual, nothing at all whatsoever. I'm like one of the few people you'll probably ever know that had none of that, and I didn't even know. You could say, do you know? Have you heard of Jesus? I'd be like, who's that? Like, what's that? I don't even know what that is. I didn't know anything about any of that, and it's really weird not growing up with any of that. But I mean, the good, I guess, for me looking back, the good was, I don't know. I guess I understood, like, today when I look back. I didn't understand going through it as a kid. That's probably why as soon as I was able to run to, like, my outlets, looking back when I was younger, before I was able to run to drugs or alcohol, I could see I was running to food, and I started becoming really overweight. So you're numbing yourself with food, drinks and food, and people still do that today. I see people today who are like, I'm sober. You're 500 pounds. Well, you're not sober. You're killing yourself to live. So people don't realize you're still, you can still kill yourself with food or beverages or, whatever it's going to be. But I realized as a young kid I was doing that, and then as soon as I was able to reach over to a different outlet, it became alcohol, and because I didn't understand what was going on when my parents were fighting or the abuse or, but when I look back today, that I get it. It's because they were partying, because when things were like sober, there was love. It was cool, and I seen that because then when I did it and I got drunk, man, you get me in the right situation, I'll kill you, but when I'm sober, it's all cool, and I see people still do that today. So I look back and able to forgive, going, they didn't know any better. I can't blame them for not knowing any better, and
you see yourself in a lot of people around that, surround you now, that were like, some of the things, maybe even kids that you run into, and
there's a lot of through my, this period, there's a lot of, families destroyed and abuse, and it sucks because everybody's not as strong as I was, and then you find out, oh, so-and-so committed suicide or this or that, when, man, I would just love for people to know that there's hope out there, that we don't know, because you see people, but you don't know when they go to their bedroom and they go to sleep at night, how hard people are really taking it. Oh, so-and-so killed herself? You would have never thought that. It's like, yeah, because you're not in that bedroom when they're trying to put their head to sleep on that pillow, and you're not there with them. You don't know what's going through their mind, or so.
Did you ever contemplate suicide at times?
No, I never did, because I took I just stayed medicated on everything. So I never gave my chance to feel anything. I focused on whatever was, when I was young enough, was dirt bike riding. I'm going to become, pro motocross.
Yeah. Until,
I got to the age where I'm like, got into music. I'm like, I'm become a rock star, and I just completely focused on that hope, and that's it. And, I got to say, if it wasn't for music, I probably would have been dead.
Yeah.
It was an outlet for me, and some people don't have any outlet, and there's, I was giving people hope out there, because...
Definitely. I read one of the parts, and you said you had really bad, sinus problems, and which led to pneumonia. Did you contract valley fever?
No, I don't think so, but...
It kind of sounds like, because I have valley fever, and you get pneumonia. And
I could have had it first, and it developed into pneumonia later.
Yeah.
But...
Did you ever get tested for it? It's just happening left and right here in Bakersfield.
No, I don't think so. I don't ever remember that, but, it was rough, man. It was like, I don't know. Yeah. you would see me and be like, man, you feel sorry for me just hearing me breathe,
Oh, yeah, it's miserable. It's miserable, yeah.
Yeah, I was a mess, man, and I can't believe, I'm allergic to a few things today, but as far as everything else, I mean, I feel good, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really in tune with my body, and I feel good. You know, I work out 4 or 5 days a week, and run. I run 4 or 5 days a week, and I feel good.
That's great. Well, let's talk about KORN, of course. The new sound and style that KORN brought in the early '90s. You know, it's a great story that's been retold numerous times. You know, the rage on those early albums. When you talk about the creative process, and you guys were you guys were young and you guys were wild and crazy. You know, how has your creative process changed compared to then? And, you know, up to now? Seems like you're a kinder, gentler Fieldy. But the rage on those early albums was just so raw and really abrasive. How do you do that now with a band like KORN?
You know, like, for today, where I'm at in my life is, man, growing up with all that music, I love the heaviness, you know, and I got it. I mean, it's up to everyone else how they're going to use that. If you're going to use it like screaming hatred in your room, you're just practicing the wrong thing. How about using that music when you're working out, you know? Or like if you're in, you know, like in traffic, you just want to rock out and lose yourself in the music. There's so many. I love it. Like, Metallica is one of my favorite bands of all time, you know? It's like, I still love heavy music, and I love to create it and make it. I like to, you know, I think it's cool when kids get to come to the concert and bang their head and jump around in the pit and, you know, and lose their mind. You know, it's like they're having a good time out there. As long as they're having a good time and they're not being hateful. But, man, there's all kinds of haters in the world. There's no way, you know, that we can run from all that. It's like it's there. All you can do is be that person. Actually, go get in the pit and be that person smiling and having a good time. Be the light in the pit, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear that.
So, I love it, man, and we're back in the studio right now, me, Monkey, and Jonathan, and we're working on a new one. We've been in for a couple of weeks, and we're actually back in the studio working with the first KORN producer, Ross Robinson. He did the first KORN album, and Life is Peachy, and we're really going back to the roots and just writing some banging riffs and whatever John comes up with. I never, you know, it's where he's at lyrically, you know. It's like, I can't, like, say, you know, hey, bro, you need to, you know, do this or do that. That's his thing, you know, and that's where he's at in his life. So I've seen him grow, and, like, who knows, man, if he's, you know, pissed off about a situation and wants to write about it, that's where he's at, you know.
Yeah, well, you kind of bring up something that was going to be in my next question. As a born-again Christian, you know, do you have to deal with a lot of issues being in a band like KORN? We've heard what Brian Welch has had to say in his book, you know, but what about you? And you tell me a little bit now, but at the end of the day, when you're alone, do you ever have any long talks with yourself about maybe what about my part and, you know, my spirituality, you know, my belief in Christ and stuff like that? Or, you know, I listen to KORN. I have a strong spiritual background, but I love listening to KORN. I guess I don't think about it too much, but what about you? You know, everybody's different.
You know, for me, you know, I gotta say, like, I love to be in KORN because I like to make heavy music, and if he's using curse words or whatever, you know, I just filter that out. You know what? You can buy clean versions too. It's the power of being in KORN that's letting me put out this book that's going to reach people, or putting out my new solo album I got coming out called Stillwell. It's Stillwell, which is, you know, like, any projects I could think of in the future that I might want to do that's going to help people with some hope, I can do it with that much more power of being in KORN. If I walk away from that, I'm going to reach less people. I'm right where I'm supposed to be until it's my time to go, but it's not that time, because I'm not getting that tug from the Holy Spirit telling me. You know, I always look at in a scripture where it talks about the first thing that Christ had to do is the Holy Spirit led him into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights with no food, no water, with the devil. The Holy Spirit doesn't always take you where you want to go. And, you know, it's sometimes it's a dark circle out there, but where better does the light shine? You got to, you know, understand that you're getting placed out to these areas that you can reach people. I can just step off my tour bus to a whole line of fans and go talk my head off.
Yeah.
Now I'm at home. I got to get in my car. I got to maybe go to the mall or go to somewhere and I got to try to track it down, you know. And it's like this way I'm placed in front of more people than I can handle every single day, and I use that and I try to reach people, and you know.
It's easy for you to witness in front of an arena.
I love to let people know, like, even if I'm out talking with someone, to, you know, like, everybody's going to have a different style of what they're going to do, you know, like how they're going to, if they decide they want to, you know, make a change in their life, they may go, I may see them a year from now go, hey, bro, I started a hip-hop church, man. We break dance in there, and we do, I don't know, you know, it's like there's so many ways that, I'm like, that's cool, man, you know, like, everybody's going to have their own style of what they're going to do, and then you're always going to have people pointing the finger going, that's a cult. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's like, so what?
Yeah.
I don't care. People could tell me, if they told me I'm in a cult, I'm like, I don't care. Good. It sounds like, you know, I want to call it a gang. I don't really care, you know. It's like...
One of the parts that struck me the most, I look at the relationship that with your father in the book, and it reminds me of the movie Amadeus. Mozart's father's powerful presence followed him even after his death and became like a figure in his works, and it was kind of like the ghostly figure, and it wasn't always a positive figure that came in, and it kind of reminded me of you and your father. I mean, is that happening with your works?
You know, everything that my dad has done, I didn't really mean to do, but I did. You know, like, he was a musician, I'm a musician. He was an alcoholic, drug addict, I was. You know, he was a carpet cleaner for a living on the side. I clean carpet. You know, like, everything he's done. And you don't even mean to do it. I think it just happens with people. You end up being like your, you know, the male ends up being like their dad, and the girls end up being like their mom. And that's why I think it's so important to the way we live our life, you know, not living by telling people what to do, but just by living by example, you know. And that's the only thing that works. You can't tell people how to live. You just got to live and let them watch you live.
Yeah.
You know, and just be patient, because they're eventually going to be living just like you, because you're the father, you know. And that's all it is, man.
Yeah, so let's talk about some brighter things. I saw that, you know, I knew we all know you helped Limp Bizkit become a huge success. Are you happy to see them reunited?
Yeah, man, they're doing I think we have a couple of shows with them in Europe. We're doing a tour in June in Europe, and we have a few shows with them, and it's cool, you know. Like, I don't know, like, recently I heard, you know, a song on the radio, and I was like, that's good, man. I liked it, you know, like, it's cool, you know. Wes is, you know, I know all those guys, you know, and I know that they've been all through their hard times, but how am I going to sit and point and go, oh, he was a jerk here or there? Man, you want to talk about me? You ain't got nothing on me. It's like, who knows that I haven't talked to them in so many years that I may walk up to Fred Durst and he's like, hey, yo, man, you know, sorry for everything I did in my past, but I've changed my life, and I don't know where they're at today, you know. So you never know. That's why I'm always just like to try to be cool with everybody, no matter where they're at in their life, because I don't know where they're going to be tomorrow, you know. And
or what they might remember from you back then.
Yeah.
Walk up, you want to be, hey, what's up, man? And they were like, get out of here.
Yeah, man. So, you really never know, and it's hard to say if somebody was like a jerk to you, and then you see him 5 years down the line, and then you tell him, you know, I met you, and you know, you didn't, you know, you were a jerk to me, and he's like, I was? He doesn't even remember, and like, you know, we're holding on to that all those years, and he's like, doesn't even remember, you know?
Yeah.
Because he was probably just having a bad day or something. So I don't know, it's the best thing to do is just not take anything personal, because you never really know where somebody's coming from.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it does seem like divine intervention that you and the guys in KORN came together. You guys suffered together. You guys have succeeded together, and you guys have like triumphed together through a lot of things. This is an amazing story. Will there ever be like a full KORN reunion? Do you ever see that ever happening?
I mean,
I'm sure
know,
you get
man.
asked that. I'm sure you get asked this a lot.
Yeah, and I don't really know, but I mean, if it would make Korn bigger and more powerful, I would love for it to happen. You know, because the more powerful Korn becomes, the more powerful that the things that we really want to do can make a difference. You know, so if it's not, and it's going to make things, you know, not cool, no, I don't even want to see it happen, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Only God knows, you know?
Absolutely.
You never know. So I'm cool with those guys, though, and, you know, we're all cool. Everybody, I think all 5 of us are cool. I just don't know if they're there.
Yeah.
I know I'm there, and I think if we all got down and did something again, it would be great, you know, because if it was great once before, you know, you never know. I don't know, man. I just know that, you know, right now, it's pretty rocking, you know. We're in the studio with Ross, and, you know, and I can say nothing but good right now, having a great time, and yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm looking at the pictures inside the book, but you can really see, like, the glow in your face, especially when you're sitting with your family. How is being a father and husband now?
It's definitely, I mean, there's nothing that can bring that, like, I don't know, to bring your spirit alive when you're with a family that loves you, you know, and it's almost like if you have a dog and when you come home and the dog's wagging their tail and you're bringing their spirit alive, and it's like there's nothing, no one can, you know, give that to you but family, like your own family. But with that, you know, people think like, oh, you know, you turn your life around, you do this and that, you know, and everything's all good. It's not all good. There's always drama. There's always that, you know, those problems, but, you know, people think you have, like, I don't have any of that. I got that, but the whole thing is I'm on a strong foundation. You know, my house is built, you know, like, my home, like me, there's a foundation here. Nothing's gonna blow this house away.
Yeah.
You know, like, as of today, I don't know what a storm tomorrow's going to bring, you know. But if a storm comes, it's going to be pretty strong, you know. And I don't know. I mean, tomorrow I could wait. You know, it's hard to say. Like, it's really hard to say because life is so crazy. But today, things are real strong. Tomorrow, I could be dead, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. Like, you could wait. You don't know. We're not promised tomorrow, and you can only say right now things are good, and following this other way of, like, what Christ said. He's like, you know, come follow me. He's all, let me take the burden off of you. You know, he's all, you know, carry my load is much lighter. Now, he said there's a load. Yeah, there's a load this way, but it's way lighter than when I was living the dark side of life, man. That load was like Santa Claus toys on his back. Now it's like, all I got is, you know, maybe like 2 toys in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lighter load. And I always remember that. And I'm like, man, I could always remember that so I can continue to live this way, because the other way is a way heavier load. You know, it's a lot.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to carry.
Yeah. Well, I can tell your approach to spirituality and getting the message out is, I think it's a lot more accessible to a lot of kids out there, especially maybe those who have not been to church before, or like you kind of came from the same background, stormy relationship at home, because it starts right there. And with the release of this book, it's a great book, man. What I've read so far, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. You know, especially me being from Bakersfield and reading some of these things and seeing some of these pictures, like your old metal pictures. I've seen some of those pictures before. I know, you know, some of the guys that used to play with you, and they've showed me pictures, and it's like, there's a lot of good memories in here. It's a lot of sad memories, but there's a lot of hope and triumph and inspiration to be shared with a lot of people. So, you know, you have a lot to be proud of, man.
Cool, thanks, man. And you know, like, I gotta tell everybody about, you know, my hell before I can get, you know, to where I'm at today. So the book does get, it gets better, you know.
Yeah.
You're reading about some hell right now, so.
I'll tell you this as a homeboy is that we're all here in Bakersfield. We're proud of everything that you guys have done, and we're really happy that you guys have been able to continue on in your various incarnations. Because we love the music, we love hearing the success stories. And, you know, the love of God is definitely going to be watching over you guys in the future.
All right, man. Thank you.
You got it. You have a great day. God bless.
All right, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bakotunes.